Now, you may now check the channel.
Well,
hopefully we're live for you guys. If we are, I'm sure Jack will confirm it if we are live.
Yeah, well, give me a minute. Oops, not even. Yeah, because I'm on my phone, I can't just. Actually, no, I can. Should be able to.
I should have brought my spare phone with me going through this. I'm doing this off the cuff, really. But hopefully we are live, guys.
Yes, we are live.
Okay. Hey, guys, welcome to our review of Arkham Asylum, the video game, the famous video game known by all the world. Well, if you haven't played it, what the hell's wrong with you? But yes, Arkham Asylum is the I don't think there's any. Well, that's debatable. It's arguably one of the best Batman games of all time, and it has released a phenomenal franchise until Arkham Knight, and then after Arkham Knight, it kind of went that debatable in the decision of if everything keeps going good. But this is going to be quite a video to talk about. There is a lot to say. Now, before I go into this, Jack, have you played? How much of the game do you know? Do you just know the main story, or do you know all the secrets and stuff?
Well, pretty much, yeah, all the secrets and stuff.
All right. So, I suppose where we start with this is the story of Arkham Asylum. Fair enough?
Yes, indeed.
And before we go into this, though, Jack, your thoughts on Arkham Asylum?
So, okay. Overall, as a game, it is a very good game. Definitely for 2009 and for being, the prototype to start off the franchise, it does very well in setting everything up and introducing you to these characters. It's a very good first game.
Okay. So, yeah, overall, it does bounce. There are some limitations to the game when you play it, when you will feel that. But at the same time, I feel like when they were making this, they probably were hoping to go further, but they wanted to give like a basis. That's what I'm thinking of. So we'll go to the story now. Before I go to my thoughts on Arkham Asylum, I didn't actually play this first. I played Arkham City first, and I only found out Arkham Asylum a few days ago. So when all those big reveals happened, it was a surprise to me when they did happen, and it was a fun experience. So going through this, before I get into any of the story, I'm going to get to the story eventually. But the one other thing I'm going to mention is, do you prefer the PS3 version of this game or the remaster?
Now, obviously, this is coming off someone who hasn't played the PS3 version, but I have seen it, so I can. I think in terms of like how some of the characters look, especially Batman, the PS3 original, it does make it look a bit better. I feel like especially the Joker design in that game makes him look a bit more, it gives him more features. The remaster, though, I think is very overhated. I think the Joker, yes, everything looks fine, and a lot of it does look really good. I will say, Batman's face, which has been criticized to high heavens with the remaster, even though I prefer the PS3 one, I don't think it's that bad. Like, there's a lot of bits there are some scenes that, yeah, it does look a bit strange, but for the most part, I think it's fine. I do think people go a bit, they go a bit far when they say, oh, it's the worst thing to happen. And yeah, there's definitely some scenes where I think also the remasters come down to some of the shading in different scenes, like how dark a scene is, how bright it is. But apart from that, I like them both equally. Like, I don't mind either one.
Fair enough. From what I've heard about the remaster, while character models are questionable, what it does improve on is the backgrounds and the environments. That's no question at
Definitely.
all. And what
Definitely.
I found out that in the PS3 version, there was supposed to be a rain thing, but they didn't have the technology to pull it off. So when you went into the medical building, you would hear thunder, and you're wondering, there's no storm out there. We were out there. But when you get to the remaster, of course, they add the rain, and then it does look great, and it all works out well. So it all comes down to you. Is it worth the sacrifice, the character models looking not as good, for the environments to look better?
I'd say so, yeah.
Hmm.
Although it depends if you want to keep the dark, the gothic. I mean, obviously the gothic vibe is in both of them, but the PS3 version, I'd say, definitely has that more darker shades to add to the gothic thing. It depends of what really you really want.
Oh,
But
indeed.
yeah, I definitely say if you want a better like graphics and environments, definitely the remaster.
That being said, though, I think it's finally trying to start on with the story, everything that I'm always known for, story analysis. Well, to be fair, though, if you've played Arkham Asylum, you know the story by heart. If you haven't played Arkham Asylum, once again, Jack and I would probably, if you're a Batman fan, we'd highly recommend you playing it.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah. So before I get into the story, let's say we have some fans here, to the non-Batman fans and to the Batman fans who haven't played Arkham Asylum, would you recommend it to them?
Oh, 100%. It is a fantastic game.
Oh, really? Well, of course it is.
Mm.
But you'd also recommend it to people who aren't Batman fans.
Yeah, because even like I've said this on some other things. Even if you're not a Batman fan, it's still a very well made game. So, and also if you don't know much of the lore, well, the game obviously gives you lore through the character bios and through the tapes, random tapes you do come across.
Fair enough. So let's go into the story. The story of Arkham Asylum is essentially, how to put it, Batman has captured Joker from attacking, I believe it's the mayor.
Yeah, I
Am
think
I wrong with that?
City Hall, I believe.
Okay, so he basically brings him back to the madhouse, but he's a bit suspicious of Joker let me capture him very easily, and given his name, it's obviously a ruse, clearly. So he brings him in there, and as you're taking him in the asylum, which of course is a great opening shot of the game, and then you have the reveal of some of the characters like Quincy Sharp and Aaron Cash in the background, and also Penelope Young is also there too. And then you slowly make your way in. It's built. That's the one. What that could be considered a criticism of the game. That it does take a while to get it going because you're walking with the character like, oh, I'm waiting for something to happen. So, would you consider that criticism?
In terms of like wanting to get on with the gameplay, yeah, but I really like the opening. The fact we get to walk through the asylum with Joker, and we get to like obviously with the announcements on it, you get to see like some of the inmates at Arkham Asylum. I think it builds it up really well, actually, especially in the elevator, and especially with the Killer Croc scene. But we'll talk more about that when
Oh
we
yeah,
get to the characters and villains.
indeed. Because when that reveal shows up, everyone's always. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh God, I hope I don't have to fight that guy." And because, dude, if they establish someone, you're gonna have to fight that guy.
Hmm.
That's just game logic 101. So we're introduced to some of the inmates and the characters in this opening. The one positive about it, though, is it does give Joker does basically hint at what his plan is to Batman, even though Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective, can't really put two and two together because some of the people who are Jokers, some of the inmates are part of his Blackgate crew, whatever, and they've been transferred to this place, which is a bit suspicious as well. And spoiler alert for a game that's over how many years old?
Oh, I think I think 17. I think it'll be this year.
Damn, 17. Time flies. Is that close to your age?
Oh yeah, because the game came out my same year. Yeah, it'll be 17. I
Oh,
think it
God.
came out. I don't know when exactly it came out. I think I do know I am older than the entire Arkham franchise, but yeah, 17.
Right then. So, of course, spoiler alert for that storyline. The truth is, Joker wanted him to be captured on purpose so he could go to that sort of thing, though. Why couldn't if Joker wanted to go back to the asylum, why don't you just go there yourself? Whatever.
Because he wants to trap Batman in the.
I suppose.
Yeah, he wants to trap him in there. Because
Okay, no bonus.
Because he can do it himself, obviously, but Batman might not be there.
Right, fair enough. Yes, he wants to capture Batman as well. So he tricks Batman, taking him to the Arkham Asylum, and apparently he's had Harley Quinn in the background. Somehow she's able to get out of her cell and has stole a key card from somebody, and was able to unlock all the shit and release all the inmates. For some reason, the security thinks it's a good idea to leave. They have one guard escort Joker back to his cell. Okay. And he kills the doctor and kills the guard and breaks out. There's also a bit of controversy with Commissioner Gordon's design. People have compared his body to an athletic bodybuilder. Okay, I understand that. Personally, the design never bothered me. The remaster is more an issue for there. I think for the old model.
I find it just funny that, especially like when you get to Arkham Knight, in Arkham Asylum City, he's seen as this old man. And then you get to Arkham Knight and he's de-aged by a few years.
Simple answer is hair dye.
Mm.
Has to be. It's the only way. There's your logic. But yeah, so he of course breaks out, and it's up to Batman to basically follow the trail of the Joker wherever he goes. And you go from the intensive treatment where you face Zaz. I think that's just Zaz in there in the intensive treatment building, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you find out later Frank Bowles is actually working for the Joker, and I think it's in a way that's how he got the key card, how Harley got the key card. That makes sense to me about it.
Might have been, yeah.
So then he captures Gordon, so he, for leverage to stop the Dark Knight. Whereas we're also introduced to the Titans, who will be our bosses throughout the game, as you find out. And he's curious, like, what is this stuff? I need to find out what's going on here. So not only is Batman on the trail for the Joker, he's also on the trail to find out what this mysterious Titan formula thing is. So he eventually will get out of the intensive treatment after Frank Bowles dies, and then, at that point, the Riddler has also infiltrated his communications to say, "Hey, you need to find my trophies," even though it's story-wise it makes no flipping sense. I feel like, because I don't think the Riddler say if you don't find my trophies, there's a consequence or anything. He doesn't have hostages like in the other games.
No.
So he's just saying, "Find my shit." Okay, but newsflash, sorry Riddler, but I think Joker's mysterious threat is more of a dangerous situation to worry about than you finding all his loot. Sorry. But yeah, we do also, speaking of Riddler, we do find his cell in the first fight sequence of the game. It's in the right corner. So that's a nice touch. And you can actually find a Riddler trophy in that very first room. It's right behind it, a grate. So there's a nice little touch there.
I remember when I saw that for the first time, I'm like, oh, there's a Riddler trophy like right there.
And there are lots of Easter eggs throughout the game, if you pay attention to them, like the Aaron Cash photo, the radio, which is Jack Ryder speaking aloud, and that's the Riddler, you can scan that. Of course, don't cut yourself on this sharply observed portrait. Yes, we know. So you have that one, of course. I'm not going to spoil what that one is, so you can figure that for yourself. Then there are some kind of weird jokes in here, or weird dialogue as well. Well, of course, there is cursing in this. You mean my bitch, Wayne? Of course.
Yeah, all that.
You good?
Yeah, sorry about that. My mum just came in.
I hope you hear I said that line now.
No, it's alright. She'd be fine with it anyway.
Alright then. But also what's weird is some of the characters have weird dialogue. Like, there's this guard who talks to this dead guy who says, "Don't worry, I'll look out for Maria." And since we don't know who Maria is, that could be his daughter or his wife. And that means the guard is a cheating hoe.
Wait, when's this?
Oh, after you've when Frank Bowles is dead and you beat all those guys in the intensive treatment building in that stealth section, there's this guard that comes out and says, "Hey, Frank is dead. Good, he was scum anyway." Then you could walk along, but when you see that guard, he's talking to this dead guy, and he's like, "I'll look after Maria."
Maria might be his wife or something.
Yeah, but regardless, it sounds like the guy's gonna have cheat on with it. Now that you're dead, I can take that one for myself now. Like I'm Walking Dead was a thing.
That's oh god.
And that's just my dark mind. It is Gotham, so it wouldn't be too far off.
There are some very good on the subject of lines. There is, I mean, obviously you've got Joker who has so many so many good lines in this game. It's also the game where the very popular meme of Officer Balls was made, which, I mean, what else to be said about that meme? And there's just so many fun Joker lines in this game. It's hard to really pick a favorite. There's quite a few. I like the you were expecting maybe Two-Face, and
Nope.
all
He gets a cameo, that's it.
yeah, and there was also there's one like it was after Croc when it was a really funny one. It's after you encounter Croc at the beginning. He says, "That reminds me, I really need to get me some new shoes." I thought that
I'm
was
not
a
sure how
really
he's
good
planning to get those.
crocodile skin shoes. I thought that was very I thought that was a nice little funny game.
Okay, there you go. After he escapes the intensive treatment, I believe at some point, yeah, Barbara Gordon, who is Oracle, is pretty much established straight from the start, and she's alongside with you on this quest, which is a nice stuff. And as you're going through this, you do unlock the character bios, and I always like these character bios best because I like the art style they're done. That's just me personally.
It is very nice, even though obviously some of them, well, they're not canon, and they're more so just they're more facts about the villains in the comics, because obviously people have said, oh, well, Hush and Hugo Strange are mentioned here, but Batman has not met them yet.
I never really got that impression, like in Arkham City, that he like it's the first in time he's encountered Strange. I always thought it was fine because I never in Arkham City implied that it was his first meeting with the Professor.
Potentially, to be honest, Strange has been considering the Strange has been around for like the past decade since Origins. It's definitely possible that he's been known. Hush, on the other hand, yeah, I
Well,
consider
they're
the
friends.
bios to obviously just be fun little comic bios just about the different villains, pretty much.
Fair enough. So, where was I in story? So he gets out of intense dream building. He is now on the way to. He gets out, and you see that nice pan out shot of the island. Dun, dun, dun. And I've made ever since this game, I've always made a complaint about the size of the moon in any sort of TV show or video game. How flippin' huge the moon is. If the moon was that big, it would be so close to the planet. Okay. Anyway, so of course the music also credit to that too. Great choir, great score, especially in Arkham City. They really ramp it up. So claps to that. He gets out, and of course, Joker will slowly take over the island piece by piece, and he's going to go after a medical, but of course, that's where Commissioner Gordon is. You have to get off. You get off, and you find out that Harley's trying to sabotage the Batmobile. And as you also progress through the game, you're also unlocking, of course, gadgets. You start off with the Batarang, and then the second gadget you get is, of course, the explosive gel. Which, overall, Batarang or explosive gel, which is the better gadget?
They both have their uses. I can't pick between the two, honestly.
Your mic's breaking up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm picking up like static.
How about now?
It's still the same.
Okay. Any difference?
Still the same.
Oh, I might leave and join back, see if
Okay, I hope it works out for us.
okay.
I can only hope, guys. I can only hope that I'm unclear on the end of the stream, because if I'm also speaking awkwardly, then again, I'm sure Jack would have told me if I was. I don't exactly know what happened. Let's see. Please say you're better now.
Hopefully, please.
It's the same.
Oh,
Why does this have to happen now?
I don't know.
Did you check the Okay, check the stream and hear your voice if it's there on your end too.
Okay. If I could be heard.
What was that?
I want to look.
Your voice is back to normal now.
Oh, okay. Right. Hopefully nothing happens.
Well, okay, I don't know what the hell that was, guys, but he's back to normal now. Last thing I said was Harley goes to. I was asking Jack here about Batarang or Explosive Gel.
I personally cannot pick between the two. They both have their uses.
Fair enough. So Batman goes and makes his way to the medical building, and after which now Batman goes for different buildings throughout the game. The intensive treatment is never my favorite mini arc that he goes through. If you were to pick one building out of the buildings he goes through, which is would you say is your best?
There's quite a few. I like the penitentiary. I like the medical center. Those are probably my favorites.
But if you had to pick one,
oh, I can't pick one. Probably would be medical. It probably would
yeah,
be
I've
medical.
given what's there, yeah. So he goes his way to the medical building. He has to find another way in. He goes from the and by the way, guys, I'm doing my story analysis different from how other reviewers have basically done it. They've done it more professionally than I have. I'm just going through it as a player perspective as you're going through this. So he goes in the medical building from the roof. He does some stealthy stuff, takes out the guards, frees the doctors, and he has to find out he has to also rescue another 3 doctors, one of which was Penelope Young, who is actually a very important character to the plot. And they also, as you're going along, Joker will talk about there are 2 more friends coming to the party. And then you have Penelope Young on the intercom saying, Patient X is our top most awesome subject who will help great for Project Titan. And since Batman's already heard Joker, I don't think he's heard him say Titan yet in the game. So, yeah. It's starting to be revealed, so the plot is starting getting underway. While you're there, you also find the cell of Killer Croc, his old self, who is transferred down to the lower levels. So there are a lot of good Easter eggs. You also find, of course, Thomas Elliott's one there as well. And in the morgue, you get the Great White Shark. I think that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out.
I was going to say Ra's al Ghul, but he comes later on.
Yeah, he's in the Arkham mansion.
Yeah.
Which it makes me question why there are more bodies in the mansion. No comment. Aaron Cash, I think. Oh yeah, he's with one of the doctors, and in that room there's Firefly's Easter egg there too. So that's another one. So after he rescues all 3 of the doctors, which is also a cliche that most of the black guys I've seen on TV always have the same like Mr. T type personality. So Aaron Cash also fits into that category. Speaking of bio tapes, of course, the bios also come with tapes, and you find out more of the background story that led up to these events in the game, which is nice. Once we rescue all the doctors, we essentially go into the elevator and are, of course, introduced to you-know-who, the Man of King of Fear, Scarecrow. And they do him pretty well, I would say. This is probably his highlight, though. Sorry, Arkham Knight, you do not do Scarecrow justice like you did in his game, because Scarecrow's sequences are one of the big highlights of Arkham Asylum, and you never succeeded passing that. Also, I think his voice is more... I like John Noble. Was it? I think it's John Noble. He's a good...
No, that was... John Noble was Arkham Knight. I've forgotten who voices him.
Yeah, I know that. I was getting to that. Like, I like John Noble, but Romano, was it? Whoever did...
It might have been, yeah.
I know it begins with an R. But I think he was more... He got into that impression of a sinister force at work, whereas Noble's trying to go for more of the Grim Reaper. Nothing is wrong with either performance. It all comes down, what do you find more unsettling to you?
I'd love to talk more about Noble Scarecrow, but I want to save that when we get to Arkham
Yeah,
Knight.
fair enough.
But for Asylum Scarecrow, his design is very good. Like I said, his voice is very awesome as well. His design was very unique, like giving him like the noose around his neck. I thought that was very cool. His mask as well, and his claws, like his long fingers with the syringes. He's definitely one of the like top 5 highlights of this game. In a game with so many highlights, he's definitely one of the best things about this game.
Indeed, you do. So of course his first hallucination is easy to overcome. It's supposed to be easy to overcome because it's supposed to be introducing you this to the player. I would say his hardest one is probably the Arkham Mansion one, which is the second encounter with Scarecrow.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I had some problems there. But to be honest, I don't know if it was just the game being the game or if it was actually me not doing good. It depends.
No, it did. So after he beats Scarecrow, he essentially comes to his senses because before he comes to his senses, he thinks he's killed. Well, Jim Gordon has died, and of course it's an illusion. Of course, trying to break Batman, which is what Joker's trying to do throughout this entire game. Not only does he want to have this world domination plot, but he also wants to break his rival because you can sense there's a bit of age with the characters, both with Batman and with Joker, that they've done this dance for so long, they're ready to end it some way. So there is that symbolic weight to it as well. So eventually they after Scarecrow is taken down, he makes his way to find Gordon, and he comes across, of course, there's another person at the party you find after rescuing him, knocking out Harley and not tying her up, which is stupid. He comes across, of course, Bane. He is patient X that was established prior, and given the facts from the original test subjects that we saw, him a big bulky guy, it makes sense. Of course, that means you have to fight Bane now, and it sounds hard, but when you think about it, it's easy once you know what you're supposed to do. And unfortunately, his basis of a boss fight is going to be a repeat for every future boss fight with the Titans in it. And that could be people have argued if that is, it's the same boss fight over and over again. What do you think?
Yeah, especially since a lot of the fights, like you said, a lot of the fights in this game are Titan fights and they do repeat the same structure, the same formula. There's only 2 boss fights in this game that are
Break the
different,
mold.
and that's Scarecrow, and obviously the one we will get to later when she makes her appearance in the story.
Well, giving it away already, aren't we? There's only so many villains who can do a boss fight.
But for those who don't know, we will get to later.
And then, of course, you have the finale boss fight, which you can debate on that if it's good or bad.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the finale boss fight.
How do you forget that?
Reasons. We'll talk about that when we get to.
After he beats Bane, he escapes, and of course he realizes that also Harley has also escaped. And then I think one of the letdowns in this is that Batman mostly beats. I've heard this complaint. I'll say it now. Batman mainly beats these villains up in a cutscene, which kind of takes away that sense of accomplishment. Whereas Arkham City, I think, has corrected that flaw, where you can really beat up some of these bad guys to deliver the finishing blow. Like the cutscenes that would drag on, like now this cutscene happens and he finishes him off. No, every time you beat a boss in Arkham City, you have the finishing blow as the player, then it goes to the cutscene. But it's you beat up the boss and then there's a cutscene, because in this situation, Bane comes back up and he's got him, and granted his knockout was pretty damn cool, of course, with the Batmobile ramming into him, which is pretty savage of Batman to do that. That's another thing. I don't know why he was calling the Batmobile, because before he doesn't know Bane's coming back, of course, but for some reason he calls the car in to do what exactly? The car's not going to take him anywhere. Whatever. He calls the car in, knocks Bane out, and he gets Jim off the island. I do appreciate that Jim tries to say, I'm not going to leave you here by yourself, but here's the thing. Joker has a stupid plot where he has planted bombs all over the island or something like that, and he's trying to threaten people. If you come any close to the island, I'm going to blow some shit up. Of course, it's a joke. Of course, it's not really a thing at all. But people, of course, don't trust him because he's crazy. I mean, if Joker says he has bombs on the island, do you trust him?
No.
Yeah.
Because why would you?
I wouldn't take any chances, to be fair.
Hmm.
So he has to, by this point in the story, Batman has figured out that there is something bigger going on, and he's got to figure out what it is. So he's going to go to his Batcave on Arkham Island. He built it years ago, home away from home. So he goes to his secret Batcave on Arkham Asylum, which that makes sense. So he's smart enough to have a Batcave on the island, but he's not smart enough to figure out what Joker's up to. Okay. He goes there after some scuffling along the way. And when he gets there, he unlocks gadget number 3, the Bat Claw, which, of course, is probably one of the favorite gadgets in the game, which helps you pull off grates and collect Riddler trophies. He does find out about Penelope Young, and she created the Titan formula because she got contacted by Mr. White, who is an obvious alias of the Joker. And, of course, he's been secretly trying to trick White into making the formula so he can have an army of monsters take over Gotham. She finds out a bit and tries to stop him, but of course, if you're not going to help me finish this, I'm going to come over there and finish it myself, and that's why Joker is here, and Batman being here is just like a bonus prize to him along the way. So it's a race to find Dr. Young or find the Arkham formula and stop this. So that really elevates the player on a plot narrative. You good?
Yeah, I was just looking at something.
After he escapes the Batcave, he makes his way through the sewer system and eventually comes back up out. He's on his way to the mansion. Of course, he goes in and he eventually finds Young, because now Young and Cash have left prior to this to get her research notes back. Of course, before, Batman didn't know what she was talking about, but when we find out what it was, there's a big plot point that sort of was. She hides them in. Should I tell where the secret notes are?
Go ahead.
Spoilers alert for the player, because it's actually something you have to do in the game. 3, 2, 1. She hides them in the library amongst one of the books. So you get that, and after I forget which you do first. I think first you have to rescue Cash, and then you have to go to her office. Then you find Black Mask there. Get out of that office. That's also another weird thing. So the office is locked on the outside, and how the hell did the Doctor get in? It's kind of weird, but plot holes aside, you get out of that office, and you also find Ra's al Ghul's body there too. And if you go to your right, you'll find files for Hugo Strange. So I'm pointing out what all these Easter eggs are. Zaz's ones are above the Penitentiary, if you're wondering who those are. And then, of course, as you're going through Arkham Mansion, you come across the Catwoman one and the Penguin one, the umbrellas and stuff. So he gets the notes, destroys them. He has to go and find. He's about to go ahead and get Penelope Young, but of course, we get our second Scarecrow sequence, and it's I think some people didn't see this one coming, because after he goes through this door, it immediately opens it and says Wayne Manor, and it's what? Then he walks down, and then oh no, you realize what it is. And if you're wondering how did this happen, there are actually two little vents on the side of the door before, and you can see the Joker talks, and he goes, and then he opens the door. So it is foreshadow that Scarecrow is there. He's watching him, and then you get probably the toughest Scarecrow hallucination there. As he's, of course, going through, he has to use the Bat Claw to use as cover for some of the points. And then you have that tense moment where you have this long walkway, and you have to time it right so Scarecrow doesn't see you. Boom. And you beat him. Then Vazaz has come back to basically take Penelope Young hostage. Of course, Batman beats him, no question. That's another thing to mention briefly about Zaz. Zaz isn't one of the lesser-known villains, but he's arguably one of the more realistic villains that you can exist in real life, because he can just cut up people with his knives and you can just tally his body. Nothing says that is like it's not supernatural at all, so it is believable that something like that could exist.
It is disturbing, in all
Indeed, he
fairness.
is.
And I will say, one thing that the Arkham series does do really well at, lesser known Batman villains or more modern-esque Batman villains, they introduce them and they make them more well known through the game. Like Zaz is one. I know Zaz has been. I think he was made in the early 2000s. I'm not exactly sure when they started using him in the comics, but using him and then introducing him in Asylum and in City, it's really nice, as well as other villains. But once again we get to them down the line. But it did a very good job in that.
Fair enough. Zaz is taken out, and Penelope Young reveals that she had Bane. So another weird thing is that she's never punished. Batman's never pissed off with her. You brought Bane here against his will and did all this shit, and he's pissed off with you. Well, I think at this point it feels like it doesn't matter anyway in the story. Things have already progressed to this point, and it doesn't really matter anyway because she gets to come up. It's about 5 minutes later. She gets killed by the Joker. So touche. Some of the Warden's tech is being damaged, so he has. And then, of course, I didn't mention this prior, but the Warden has also been captured by Harley, and well, she leaves another clue for him to follow when they go make his way to the penitentiary. And as you're going along through this, the goons will upgrade their tech. So at this point, they have stun sticks now. So they had guns at one point. They had other things. You get to use your detective mode to figure out who has what. In this game, do not fight a guy with a gun. You will lose immediately. In Arkham City, they give you the disarm, and it's more easy to fight guys with guns. In Arkham Asylum, no chance at all. You have to really play stealthy in that. But after you get out of the Arkham mansion, you have to make your way to the penitentiary. And essentially, this is a lot of people say this is probably the creepiest part of the game, with all those insane lunatics and like noises and all can be unsettling too.
Lunatics.
Yeah.
I remember first playing through that and being when the lunatics first came, I was just absolutely just terrified. I was creeped out so much by it, by them, especially when they jump you and they're round the corner. It jumped me so many times. I got so scared of that.
I bet you won't. You probably won't happy when Joker pushed that button to release them out of the cages.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
But now, thankfully, they're fine because I've got the technique on the buttons of how to take them out, so they're all right. But even then,
they're pretty easy once you get it.
If you don't see them coming, and sometimes like you'll think they're far away, but one's actually near you, you can still get jump scared by them.
Pretty much. So Batman is now on Harley Quinn's trail because Harley's been everywhere on the island, and he's hoping that she will lead him to essentially Joker or the Titan facility. So he goes there and, well, he beats up all these lunatics and all these inmates. On his way, Harley bumps across Ivy, and of course she lets her out because the plants are in pain, dying, and she wants to be helped. A little foreshadowing, a little hint to the Ivy and Harley friendship from the Emmett series. Ivy is released on the island, will become a bigger threat later on, unfortunately, for the player. And of course, that's when the lunatics are released. By this point, Batman has found the Warden, and he's gotten like the sequencer code thingy, so he can have that gadget so he can get past the electrical gates. And while you're there, you also find a hint for Clayface, of course, saying him shooting different people, but you're not fooled by that. Then you leave that area, go and fight Harley in a brief boss fight in quotations, because essentially it's just her standing there with a bunch of goons you gotta fight. Then you do the same thing again later with Electric Floor, so you got 2 fights with that. Then you follow her to the second fight, and then you have a cameo of Two-Face on the side. Eventually, you beat her up, and Joker does what Joker does. He leaves Harley to Batman to be taken out. Finds out that she has a list of people who are supposed to join the party, and then he asks her. Well, he doesn't. She basically says, "I'm not telling you anything. I ain't telling you where Joker is in the secret gardens." Yep, I already know. So yeah. He makes his way over to the gardens to stop Joker from getting to the Titan facility. I blink. Yeah, he goes there first, and he tries to stop Joker. And this is where we're introduced to the Titan. Well, we've already introduced to them, but this is where we get to see the transformation and the bones popping out of the back. Yeah. Good times. So he fights them both. Once you get the hang of it, you can overpower them. He gets the line launcher, gadget number 4 now, I believe. I think it's the 4th one.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of people's favorites gadgets. We can cross chasms with it. And of course, then he has the Batwing smash a hole in the window and gets out that way. So, granted, if he's going to bring the Batwing in the roof, then why not just use the Batwing to get out? Whatever. Anyway, though, he makes his way back. Once he's smashed his way out, he has to go and find Ivy because he believes that she may be the one person who knows how to stop this stuff from happening. One thing leads to another. He finally talks to her, and of course, she wants to fight. He's like, I'm on the move for this. Just tell me what's what. She tells about this plan, which is located Killer Croc's lair, and the players are like, oh no, of course. So he leaves, but when he leaves, Joker has, injected her with Titan more than one dose. And a lot of players, you don't see Ivy until her boss fight at that point. So it makes you wonder, like, is she like this big buff woman now? Apparently not when you get to her. I'm sorry to disappoint you, because the Titan has not affected her, but her plants, and that's what we'll get to later. So you've got to destroy these pods along the way and make your way to Iron Cache till where essentially this pod is just dragging out the game just to talk to Cache and say, hey, where's Croc? He's in this place. Okay, I'll go there now. So you leave one building just to talk to Cache to go to another building. When you go to the intensive treatment building, you come across Scarecrow again, the final time, of course, and you beat him up satisfyingly. He escapes in a panic, and then he threatens to drop the gas down to the river or whatever, and but Croc takes him out and breaks his leg, which trying Arkham Knight, of course, and then rips his face open, a new one. But surprisingly enough, in Arkham Knight, he never has any sort of hatred against Croc at all for this. He blames Batman for it. Missed opportunity in Arkham Knight, I will say.
It is interesting to note that, but I do feel like, considering there's a very popular theory that Scarecrow actually praised Croc for this because it allowed him to gain a more quote unquote scarier appearance. But I also think that because Batman has done more damage to him over the years compared to Croc, so it's possible that he focuses his attention on Batman, and especially with partnering with the Arkham Knight in that game, I think he was focused more on Batman than Croc. Although it does make you wonder what could have been if maybe Croc's side mission in that game was actually defending him from the militia or something.
Missed opportunity there. After Croc gladly takes out Scarecrow for us, we reward him by fighting him. That makes sense.
Personally, and it probably still is my favorite. It was when I first played it, and it probably still is my favorite part in the entire game.
It's also very tense though.
Because
you're like, I've played this multiple times. It does not matter how fast or slow you move, he's gonna show up anyway. But it's nice to know. And if you're wondering why not use the line launcher, don't do that. Why? Because when you use the line launcher, you're going so fast you eventually bump into Croc by accident, and then you kill yourself that way. So don't try that method. You go through this maze of tunnels, eventually find some of the chemicals, and you have to eventually get bit by bit until you've got enough. But before Batman went off to do that, he set a trap for Croc, so he's got that planned out. And you time it right, and then you knock him down the thing. I will find you! And he gets what he needs and gets out of there. He goes to make the antidotes at the Batcave of what he has. And when he gets that, Ivy's plants get in, fucking up the Batcave. He's only got essentially one antidote available, one shot. He can't produce more at this point in the game. So he has to go and fight Ivy and use that one dose on her. Because by this point, she's the biggest threat on the island. He goes there, and then on his way, he sees the Joker is pumping Titan, is infecting the water with Titan as well. So he has to go to the pump room and turn it off. And after some fighting in 2 rooms, and one of those 2 rooms is the hardest stealth room, I will admit that. Such a closed environment.
I will admit that bit is a bit dragged out, like just saying, oh, all of a sudden he's pumping it into the water.
Well, of
I
course,
do
he
think
goes and
it
finds
does
the door.
drag that bit out a bit, to be fair. But the pump room it's definitely hard. I'd say honestly, well, next to Ivy, that is probably the hardest section in the
Especially when you get
game.
to the Titan part and all those goons in that Titan
Mm,
room. Good God.
mm,
If we ran to that is kind of a bit of a creepy moment when you have the Titan. If you don't turn on detective mode and you hear this noise, you turn around to the elevator and see the Titan rip the doors open. That's creepy. That's good. There's so he comes out and you fight the Titans and you fight the goons in that closed environment. I do appreciate that the game is always challenging you. Like it's the same stuff but a closed environment. Like can you pull it off in a closed environment? And if you're a good enough player, you can. So
mm,
eventually, he overcomes that and has to make his way to Ivy. As you're progressing through the game, the plants will go from shooting one spore at you to up to three. So bear in that. I reckon, and if you're wondering to get past this, please choose the multi-battering upgrade. It really helps against the plants.
mm.
He gets there eventually, and Ivy is still in the same form she is. I've established it only affects her plants. She reveals that I thought the plants were in pain. Now I realize they were revolving, growing stronger. Yeah, you can say that, Ivy, but if you could argue that it's because of the Joker's Titan that mutated them, you know? So I'm not sure Ivy's talking about. So she goes full on boss mode, and of course, if anyone has a brain, this is the hardest boss fight in the game. I've warned a lot of players about that, and so I don't know. A lot of people find what's exactly hard about it, and for me personally, as a player, I find it more difficult to shoot her with the batarang than the goons thing. The tentacle and the goons thing I can manage. Is the shooting part that gets me.
Mm. It's as when you've got the different vines on there, and then obviously you can chip away at batarangs to chip down Ivy's health. That's what I always do whenever I play. I will throw batarangs at Ivy just to chip her health down when I've got some time. And then obviously when it comes to actually the openings where you can do a lot of damage, it's there. But at that point, because I've chipped away, it makes the fight go by a lot quicker, and it gets her down to a health bar a lot easier.
Hmm. Another thing to note is that she does send out these mind control goons. The best way to get rid of them is to knock them off the cliff. Batman isn't killing them, of course. Yeah, okay, he's not killing them.
Mm,
Apparently, he's not. He's okay doing that. He knocks them off, and then you can progress on to move on to the next stage of the boss fight. Eventually, he beats her ass, and she falls down a hole into the flipping botanical gardens and is okay. She'll live. He gets out of there and has to fight Joker in the finale. He goes there, beats up some goons, and there's a section you can decide to fight goons or you just like skip it. You know where he goes inside and all that shit. Do you fight those goons or you just ignore?
The first time I just let it be. I let the thug be like, "You're not coming in. Your name's not on the list." And then he let me in. I walked down the corridor, got congratulated. That was the first time. The second time, I wanted to see what would happen, and it was funny because I timed it right. So when the thug said, "Oh, sorry, your name's not on the list," I just started just beating him up, just started fighting. But personally, I'd say I would rather not. I like it so that it adds a bit of confusion where like all the frogs are just like congratulating you as you're going through the thing. And then of course we get to the big finale.
Yep. He walks in, he sees Joker, who's got the Scarface wolf
Hang on,
things.
Lucas. Hang on, Lucas. If you want to keep talking, I'll be back in a minute.
Alright. He has Scarface. Why didn't you stop Batman? Of course, I'm gonna. Oh, we got a comment. Hi, Aiden. Hi, are you gonna play Lego DCC Films Custom Build Soundtrack? We'll see. I didn't want to be coming back to doing customs. So he throws him. And he tells, and then after he throws Scarface down, he's like, "You've been ruining all my plans all night. Beating up Bane, feeding Scarecrow to Croc, slapping around Harley, my hobby, by the way, and ruining all my lovely Venom plants." "It's over, Joker," says Batman. "Over? Why, my dear delusional Dark Knight, it hasn't even begun." And he releases the two Titans with the SWAT armor on them, and Batman has to fight two Titans again with a bunch of goons, of course. It has a bit of a slow pace to that final goon fight, but eventually, of course, Batman is able to overcome the final goon fight, and of course, Joker gives his round of applause. He applauds him for his victory and then reveals Commissioner Gordon, of course. And Batman is not wanting Jim to be Titanified, jumps into the way of the Titan and is able to resist the Titan. Okay. Joker doesn't like these resisting, so he gets out a feather and tickles him to death, which fails. And there's Jack. I just explained about the Titan Goon fight and how he's going to inject Commissioner Gordon. Batman jumps in the way. Joker's trying to trick him into giving into the Titan. I didn't know Batman can resist the Titan, which is a rare. Every time we see someone take the Titan, it's instantly effective. But in this, Batman can resist it, which is also a missed opportunity for the game because, like, you could have had a Titan Batman versus Titan Joker, but of course, symbolically, that wouldn't fit with Batman's character. So, sorry, fan fiction people, we are not having that.
I will say, I do think up until this point, this game has been amazing and fantastic. I do think this finale, well, to be honest, really it's from when Joker, which we'll explain in a minute, but this bit is probably the weakest part of the game for me.
What, the goon fight or the actual final boss fight?
The actual final boss fight, I'd say, is definitely the weakest part. It's the only really complaint I have with the game, in all honesty.
Well, the fact that Joker turns into a big monster?
It's not even that. I think it's the... Do you want to just explain the boss?
Sure, fine.
Okay, no, I tell you what. I'll explain the boss fight, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. So, the big final boss, Joker turns into a Titan. It's the big finale on the roof of Arkham Asylum. Basically, there's this massive arena, and also they have Gordon back, which is very random. Like, Gordon gets captured a lot in this game. Like, he was literally on a boat, went back to Gotham, and now he's back and he's captured. It's like, for God's sake, Gordon, what are you doing? And the main point is that you're in this arena, and thugs are coming at you, as well as little Joker teeth bombs that you have to dodge. And then Joker looks up at the helicopter and basically
Your voice is breaking up again.
Oh no. Do I need to leave and come back again?
I guess. Well, whatever you did last time to fix it, hopefully you can do the same thing again.
Let's hope.
He'll be back. Hopefully. We can only hope that his camera works again. Or it's more his microphone works again, I should say. We're almost through this. I was really hoping we'd get through this. But we can only hope, really. So...
Is that any better?
The static is still there.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, you're back to normal now.
Okay. Okay.
You were saying?
And Joker will gloat up at Jack Ryder's helicopter, and you have to use the now triple back claw to pull him down. You do this approximately 3 times in the game. But that's it. You don't physically get to fight Joker. You don't fight Joker. And I feel like turning him into a Titan is a bit pointless. But I'll tell you why. There's original concept art where Joker was a lot more slender and lanky as a Titan, and he looked way more creepy. I wish it'd been a stealth-esque boss fight where you're being hunted by this massive Joker. And then, of course, you can have some physical aspects because Joker is not... He will fight Batman. If he will throw a punch at Batman. He won't be Batman, obviously, because Batman's way better at combat than him. But Joker is not afraid to get his hands dirty and full-on, like, swing at Batman. And also, Joker has the ability to tank a lot of hits at him. Having him on Titan gives him the opportunity to actually have a full-on swing and power on Batman. So you can have him that. And I feel like having a stealth... Like, think of it similar to... Never mind, because they're in the other games. There's two very well stealth boss fights in two of the later games that I'd love to give this a comparison to. If Lucas can think of, I'm specifically talking about the one.
Arkham Origins Bane fight.
Yeah. If something like that, I feel like that would have been a bit better, or if you had to hide from Joker. I feel like that concept alone would have been much better. Obviously, you can still have him how it ends with Batman using the explosive gel and punching Joker, which is a great final shot, I will say.
But
But
I wanted to have a bit more combat, I think.
Yeah, I feel like had they expanded the fight, made it more scary, made it more stealth based, and then have like an actual combat section, even if it's short, I feel like that would have been a much better finale to the game than what we ended up getting.
Fair enough. Personally, I don't mind the finale because symbolically, these characters are supposed to be Joker and Batman are tired of doing this dance, and they're more like desperate. So when he says change, it's not just he wants them to change into the monster; he wants them to break. He really wants to mentally break the Dark Knight. So this act of Joker's is more of done as a desperation. He did not want to do this, but Batman was pushing him into a point where he didn't know what to do at that point. So you could say what you will about the plot, but you can understand where it came from. It wasn't like part of Joker's original plan. I think his plan was to use the drug. He expected Batman to transform into the Titan thing, but of course Batman wasn't going to do that and took the antidote on himself instead of telling it Joker. Here's the thing. So your complaint about this boss fight is, once again, we have it. If Batman had used the Titan on, Joker, we would have had Titan Batman. And then what would we have done?
Are you saying like had Batman taken the Titan?
Well, look, he only had one dose of the antidote, and he decided to use it on himself so he could fight Titan Joker because he didn't want to be a monster. He doesn't want to change and give into that sanity. So if he had used the Titan drug on the Joker, he would have to deal with Titan Batman. I don't think Gordon can handle that.
That's the thing, bro. You can keep Batman using the antidote on himself. You can keep that. But obviously, Joker can still turn into the Titan. It's just the actual boss fight, and I think the layout of it definitely needed to be changed.
I feel like
there was a lot more potential that could have been done. And it is a shame because for the finale of a really great game, I do think it ends on a bit, it's not the big
end on a grand note. You have that final punch with Batman, and he has explosive gel, and he gives him that final knockout punch. There's a lot of good stuff there.
There is, but I just think for all that Joker's done in this game, I think you were expecting something a bit more.
They were trying to go for like a King Kong type ending. We have the big monster on top of a building and stuff like that. But you can see what they're kind of going on. You know how Joker is kind of a theatric, so nothing about it felt off of character, given what was established with these variations of those characters, because these are supposed to be aged versions of the characters who've been doing this dance for years and are in a desperate situation to end it. So it makes sense that Joker would do something that you would not expect, because the Joker is unpredictable. So the fact if we're expecting him to be one way, we should also expect him not to be. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, what's the story? He essentially beats him up, and then he's electrocuted, and he essentially is taken away. All the Titan inmates apparently have their drugs have word off. And another issue I want to bring up is that before I wrap it on the Titan thing is that when Joker turns Titan Joker, he somehow, I guess because of the chemicals, retains his Joker personality. He doesn't turn himself a full-on monster. So there's that. I'm okay with that because the chemicals he's taking, it might make sense, and that will come back to bite him in the ass in the other game, and we'll find out the sequel, of course, Arkham City. He beats him up, of course, and then all the police and the authorities take over once again, and everything's good. He tells Barbara, or Jim tells Barbara they're okay and all that stuff. And Batman is beaten up his arm, I think, is broken or bruised or whatever. Regardless, it's not in a state to be fighting now. And what does he do? Despite the fact he's had a one whole flipping night of chaos. And bear in mind, I'm correct me wrong. Does Arkham Asylum take place in one night?
Yeah.
And with a broken arm, he decides to still go after Two-Face, despite the fact he's in no fit state to do so. But that's the way he goes.
I don't think. Is his arm broken? I don't think it's broken.
Regardless, it's not in a fit state to do much.
And I will admit, a detail I've always loved in the Arkham games, not except Origins. I don't think it's in Origins, or unless it was there and there was a mistake. Batman's arm, this one,
is bigger.
It's always bigger than his other one because of the Titan, which I thought was a really cool detail. I'm glad they. Yeah, I had a look. Like you can see in all the models looking.
Well, I knew his arm was bigger, but I never knew why it was bigger.
Because of the Titan, because of the effects. So it still like did something to him, but it obviously he managed to take the antidote. It didn't turn him big.
Okay. So the story's wrapped up there. Gameplay-wise, the game is. This introduces the iconic, famous free-flow combat that everyone praises and Insomniac will eventually steal/borrow for its games. They do change up the controls in those games, but in here it's pretty simple. An enemy comes at you, you see the lightning bolt, triangle, counter it, square punch. Very simple free-flowing combat, and when you get to the final enemy, a slow-motion animation of him satisfyingly beat downing him, which is pretty enjoyable. They will eventually upgrade the combat with different stun goons, so you can jump behind them and punch them in the back, and then you can break bones and then throw enemies. The throw mechanic combo never comes back in the other ones, but okay. There are other gadgets like the Sonic Batarang, and you can upgrade your explosive gel. Gliding doesn't get well utilized.
The gliding
about it in combat.
If you don't mind me mentioning the gliding real quick, obviously with the controls in the other games you can run off a ledge and just hold X and you'll glide. In this game, you have to properly, obviously, hold X to glide as well, but to control it, instead of in the other games, you like up is up, down is down. In Asylum, they have it so that you have your controller and you click. You have to, if you push down on the control, down is up, and then obviously up is forwards down. So obviously you can see how it did get better in other games.
Well, actually, if you played the game, mate, they have the option to switch the controls.
Do they?
Yeah, you can switch from the controls being inverted to the gliding and not.
Wow, that's something I never.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Arkham Asylum has that.
When did you find that? Or did you like always know?
I like to play all the Arkham games with the controls inverted. So I prefer like going down to go up and all that stuff. I'm good at that stuff. So whenever I play the game, I check to see if I can do that. And of course, you can in Arkham Asylum. So I know that.
I never knew that. But in all fairness, I've got this far. I've completed the game several times with it. But I will definitely check that out on the next playthrough.
Oh, indeed.
And also, of course, you said there are some controls that don't come back in Arkham Asylum, like with the line launcher. Obviously, you can't go on it like in the other games. It's just straight up a zip line which it develops. But you can tell, and I think that's the thing about the game. The game, it feels different compared to any other Arkham game. There's a famous, the thing that what each game does best. Asylum has the best atmosphere. I think out of all the games, it has
the claustrophobic environment, of course.
Yeah, and the gothic thing. It definitely, in my opinion, out of all 4 games, it has the best atmosphere. That's why each game feels like its own product.
Joe says when the Arkham City review is. Well, it all depends what day we can get it out, really.
Yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah, when we get to go through the other 3 games,
we shall see. Let's see. We've talked about the main story. We talked about gameplay. I don't think there's anything else I want to mention regarding gameplay. There is, of course, you can evade enemies and jump over them, and you can also use the cape in the combat, which further utilized throughout the other games.
Mm.
So yeah, side missions. There's not much side missions in this one because they were. It's more. It
Mm.
does feel very beta, very story focused. The
They're
side missions you get though are Riddler and
the
Amadeus
spirits of
Arkham
yeah,
Spirit
the
thing.
spirits of Arkham. The spirits of Arkham, I think it is really unique. It never gets mentioned again to do with Quincy Sharp in
Did you
any of
figure
the.
out who that was? The man who it was behind the scenes?
I mean, when I heard the voice,
Yeah.
it's Quincy's voice, so I was like, oh, so is Quincy Sharp like narrating this? Is he like an ancestor or something?
Yeah, he's just deranged. He's been hearing the unless maybe ghosts exist in this world. So he's been hearing the spirit of Arkham and it's come to
If
him.
imagine if Gentleman Ghost is actually in the Arkham games.
And then you have the Riddler, who essentially is just plotting trophies down. He gets captured. Nothing. He doesn't really have like a story or a plot at all. That's further established when you get
Mm,
to Arkham City and Night, because both of his plots are just revenge.
mm. It
Arkham
is
Origins is just origin from.
mm. It is satisfying in the game to hear the police break down his door and arrest him. But yeah, there really is not any point of having Riddler really in the game. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Arkham Riddler is a great portrayal of the character. Wally Wingert does very well in terms of the voice acting of the character. But yeah, this game doesn't really have side missions. The other three do, which we'll talk about more in
Of
other
course.
reviews, because some of the best side missions are in those games. So
I think side mission wise, I would say Arkham City has the best. Wait, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Arkham City as best side missions.
it's between. It's difficult because Night has the most, and it has the more like variety of them. City definitely has some of them. I've never really thought of like which game I think has the best side missions. Origins ones are underrated, but once again, we'll talk more about that when we get there. Do you want to talk about the characters now?
Well, there was also the hidden Easter eggs. The only thing of real relevance is that the secret room in Arkham Mansion
Mm.
foreshadows Arkham City, which means this was their plan all along to make a sequel to this game, which is a bit of a stretch for you guys. They were originally always planning Arkham City. So, but what would have happened if this game wasn't successful? Would you still in Arkham City?
They might not have. It might
Fair
have just
enough.
been a one and done. But to be honest, even so, I don't imagine this game would have been a failed anyway. Oh, but on the subject of Easter eggs, I do just want to mention in the Clayface room, you can go up the stairs at the back, and there is this prisoner on the like on with his hand on the door.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, called obviously Luke Oliver, who's on Joker's list as well and is in the game. Obviously, for those who know, it was
fan thing.
yeah, it was a fan thing. Rocksteady held a competition as to if someone entered, they would have their chance to have their face rendered in the game, and this a guy called Luke Oliver won the competition, and so he got his face on that prisoner, and he also appears on Joker's party list as well, along with Croc and Clayface and all that.
Oh, that's great. That is.
It is a very cool thing. It was nice of them to do that, I will say.
Indeed. I think you wanted to talk about characters. Granted, character-wise, there's not much really to go off. It's just the villains being themselves, really. So it's not like anything new.
Um, I think a very good place to start. Batman. I mean, you got Kevin Conroy back.
Yeah, I mean the
Obviously,
voice cast, of course.
yeah, the voice cast. May he rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. And his portrayal in this game, I thought was very good. Obviously, he introduces the detective element, how smart he is, how resourceful he is as well, like how quick thinking he is. I really like him in this game. He's also not one of the criticisms of like later games is that he pushes his allies away. and he can be seen as a bit of a dick. But in this game, he's fine. He works with Oracle well, gets it through, and I really like his portrayal in this game. And what are your thoughts on, from what you can go off, what are your thoughts on Batman in this game?
Well, he's not out of character at all. I never felt at one point he was. Well, the only thing I criticize about him is that he's not very smart to figure. He knows the Joker so well, but he can't figure out that the Joker is literally giving out his plan, like, "Hey, I brought all my thugs to this army. You have no idea what's going on." It takes him a while to figure out what's going on. Like Joker, he's a bit suspicious of him, but he never figures. I don't know. I feel like someone like. I feel like he's on the right track, but I think he should have done a bit more to prevent it. No, sorry, staff, do this. I still think his performance is great, though. But it does make you scratch your head when he's a bit slow on when Joker's literally trying to blab out his plan to him.
Mm.
But once he gets past the first chunk, he does get better, and he is doing his best to try and prevent everything from happening.
Do you want to then talk about? Do you want to talk about like the allies in this game, or do you want to go straight on to the villains?
Well, we don't really get much aside from Alfred. I think Alfred's in the game. Yes.
He's only in a riddle and a biome. Alfred's not.
Okay, so it's just essentially the Gordons, really.
It's it's only the only allies he has in this game are Oracle, Gordon, and Cash. And I mean, Oracle, it's her first appearance. She's fine. We don't really see her, but she, she's really just there. I feel like in later games she does more. But yeah, she's a good ally to have in this game. She updates you about some stuff, yeah. Gordon,
this Gordon's kind of a badass, I'll say that, because he's willing to stay despite the fact the odds are against him. I'm not a rookie, I can handle myself. This Gordon's kind of badass. I like this version of Gordon.
Yeah, I think it's a nice look at him. And the first scene, like when you meet him, he established they've got a bond, him and Batman. It's really good. The only criticism I do have is what I said, like, how is this guy? He's off Arkham Island, and then bro just gets captured again. It's just like, for God's sake, Gordon. It's a lot. And Cash, I mean, I love Cash in all these games. He's that ally that Batman can always rely on. And really like him in this game. Obviously, especially in the tapes, it establishes his hate for Killer Croc, which will become a thing.
I think after this game, he doesn't really get as strong as he is. He's just essentially the guy in the chair, or he's either chilling at the station or chilling at the church in the other two games.
Yeah, I do think the city does him a bit weaker. At night, he's fine in that game. There are some really good lines from him I do really like. But yeah, it's nice to see Cash here. He's very good. I like him as he's a very likable character, yeah. And I'm glad they did introduce him, like, other than Gordon, they introduced another officer or a guard so that Batman can be allies with. I think that was very cool. Like, it's not just his reliance on the Bat family and Gordon. I like how they had Cash as well. The villains.
We'll start with Arlene Sorkin. Why not? Arlene Sorkin has Harley Quinn reprising her role.
Sorkin. I want to ask you this question because it's one I have. Agree or disagree? Harley is done the best in this game.
Is that because she's voiced by Arlene Sorkin only in this one?
Not just Arlene Sorkin. Obviously, you've got the benefit that you've got not only Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, you've got Arlene Sorkin back to voice Harley. Great job she does in this game.
This was her final performance before she retired.
Yeah, final performance before she retired.
Which is a shame because we could have had her in the other two games. I don't think she knew this was going to be a franchise. That's what I assume.
I do wish she had reprised her role in other games, but I will say, not so much Night, but City. Tara Strong does do a good job at replacing her, I will say.
Yeah, but she does sound like Timmy Turner a bit in the dialogue. It's fine.
for me, it's only really in Night where she gets annoying and she sounds like Timmy Turner. In City, she actually does a good job replicating her.
Well,
Not
to be
obviously like
fair, in
100%.
Night, she's supposed to be sad and whiny because she lost her pudding.
Spoilers, but
Well, it's not
yeah,
really a spoil. It's been over 10 years now.
it's been wow, 15 years.
So we'll get into Arkham City another day. But overall, Harley Quinn, she's more of a sassy badass in this because that's how Arlie portrays her. In the other two games,
Yeah,
she's more portrayed as the light-hearted girl and just follows Jay's orders. But that's something why I like Arlene Sorkin's best as Harley Quinn is because there's a bit more of a danger to her. She's got this glint in her eye and a bit of
mm,
she's sassy, but she's also kind of like if she holds a gun, she's unstable to pull that trigger with a smile on her face. Whereas the other Harley Quinn is more like a bit I'm the emotional soul. I don't know. I think I prefer the more badass Harley Quinn than the more vulnerable soul version.
that's personally why I think she's done best in this game. Next,
The
you know
Clown
what
Prince of Crime.
we could, but I feel like we should save him for last, considering he's a big villain and that's what to talk about. How about Zaz?
There's not
Because
much to
Zaz
say
is
about him though.
that's the thing. Zaz in this game, he only has 2 appearances. His highlight in this game is in the tapes that you get and his how his obsession with I forgot the doctor's name, but his obsession with her
Cassidy.
to kill her. Yeah,
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
And that final tape where they ring her up and be like, Zaz is outside your apartment. It ends in such a terrifying like cliffhanger. Obviously, in Arkham City, thankfully we find out that Batman was able to go and save Dr. Cassidy, which is great. But the way Zaz just talks, he's just so he's so
Unsettling.
disturbing. It says a lot. Um, in terms of actual game, yeah, Zaz doesn't really do much, but he does get some cool tapes, I will say.
I think we're on to the Joker next, aren't we?
Um,
Killer Croc and Scarecrow. Well, we already talked about Scarecrow and Croc in a way.
Croc, I love the Arkham version of Killer Croc as a whole. I think this Asylum definitely has his best design out of all them. Steve Blum does a great job as always. His voice is great. He is just one. He's so terrifying. And once again, the tapes that indicate that he's a cannibal is also just so disturbing.
All right then. Scarecrow we already talked about. I suppose
Yeah.
before we go on to Bat Joker himself, we'll talk about the original creators, the original characters that were created for this game, which are Quincy Sharp and Penelope Young.
Mm.
Well, Quincy Sharp already talked about his whole thing with his side mission and
Yeah.
shit. As for Penelope Young, she's an interesting character because I don't know what exactly she's trying to do. She wants to cure the inmates by giving them this Project X treatment Titan thing, but how would that exactly cure them? Because it just turns into buff behemoths.
I like to think that obviously Penelope Young, she's a young woman. She doesn't. I don't think she fully understands. Like she wants to do this, like help the inmates, but I don't think she per se. I don't. Well, we know she can't. Like obviously, you can't cure. To be fair, no one can cure the Joker because the Joker is a mastermind. He's his own thing. He's in control. No one is going to quote unquote cure him. But I think she's also there to just show that like Arkham Asylum, it doesn't really it's not great at doing its job. It's not good at helping the inmates there. It's not good at curing them.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, well, where else would we send them? That leads to Arkham City.
Mm. But now just before we talk about Joker, Bane. Bane in this game. Now obviously
Missed
this version of
opportunities, I'd say.
this version of Bane is often criticized by a lot of people. Obviously, in a lot of media portrayals, Bane is shown to be a big dumb brute. When obviously he is one of Batman's smartest and most cunning foes. The Arkham games do him justice later on. However, um, in Asylum, I'm fine with him in Asylum. He's only there for the boss fight, but he plays a very big role in terms of the Titan. So his betrayal as a big dumb brute doesn't really bother me here. In City, it bothers me a bit more so,
I
but
do appreciate though it's a nice progression of what his whole thing because he feels like a victim in Asylum, so he's essentially trying to you know follow up from that with City, what he's doing there. I'm not going to give
mm,
any spoilers about the side mission, but it's a nice
yeah,
progression to for the next
mm,
step of his development.
I actually can't wait to talk about that side mission. It is one of my favorites in the game. But Bane himself is an important character. Yes, he doesn't really do much, but it's fine. I don't have any problems with him. Yeah, the main Arkham games shouldn't have portrayed him as dumb. I feel like it would have been nice to have
But
had.
essentially, he's essentially used as a plot device. He's more there just to develop and progress the plot than he is anything else.
Mm. And obviously, this was at the time where Paul Dini um did not like Bane. Is very famous that Paul Dini did not like Bane. Even back in the animated series when they introduced him in the one episode, did not like Bane. In recent years, he has actually stated that he's moved on. He does appreciate Bane, which is good. I'm glad because Bane is, well, personally, is in my top 5 favorite Batman villains. He's a great villain. So I'm glad he's getting the appreciation from Paul Dini. And thankfully, obviously, the Arkham series does do him justice later, but we will get to that when we get to Arkham Origins.
Yeah,
And that,
that's all he's got going from his origins.
yeah. And a lot of people say that Bane, like when they do a favorite Arkham villains, a lot of reasons they pick Bane is solely for his origins portrayal. But like I said, we will get to that. We really are going to talk about that when we
But
get
that's
to.
fine because they at least connect that Origins version with Bane compared with the Asylum one very nice with what they do in the story, so it's fine.
Mm,
So it's not like there's continuity errors because they fixed it.
mm.
But
And
anyway,
now
finally the Clown
for
Prince.
the Clown Prince of Crime.
You want to start with this or shall I?
You can start. I think I've rambled a bit too much about the other
No, it's
villains, so
fine.
you can talk about
It is
Joker.
awesome to have Mark Hamill reprise as well as the Crown Prince of Crime. And I feel like an interesting thing for going over this. In a way, people have said this, and I think some of the people who made the game have also said this, is that it does feel like a darker version of the animated series, and of course that's very so. So with this, they're able to push Joker a bit more to make it a bit more creepy and darker than he originally was. And you do feel that in the performance as well. And like I said in the game, he does feel a bit more aged and a bit tired, and so does Batman of how they've been trying to constantly
Mm,
been at each other's throats.
mm,
It's like they know each other at the back of their hand. So when they're going through this, their rivalry is established very well. Mark Hamill delivers his A game to this, and it must have been an awesome for them to. They're essentially bringing the animated series cast in for a new audience of fans, and some people
mm,
haven't seen the animated series. So already, I've heard people say that he's the best version of Joker without seeing the animated series, and it makes them want to go back and rewatch those old cartoons. So
mm,
I'm glad that it inspires so much, and yeah, overall, there's not much really complaints to say about Mark Hamill's portrayal as the Joker. He's one step darker than he originally was, and that is just an awesome opportunity to take.
mm-hmm. I think, like what you said, nice to have Mark Hamill back. He does so many. I mentioned earlier, like towards the beginning, he has so many great lines in this. His laugh is great. His voice just, his voice just fits it. His voice really just fits the Joker. And also just from the way, and also can I just say the designs in this game are also very good. Like especially with Joker, his obviously his purple like coat, the green hair, how it's like kind of going like across his scalp, the whiteness, the lips. And like you said, it literally is like the animated series brought to a darker level, which is why personally, even though I love the original animated series, I prefer his performance in the Arkham games more, just because of, like I said, what they were able to push with him. They were able to make him the actual Joker, not just the slightly like as edgy as they could take it for a 90s children's um TV show. He doesn't have restrictions in the Arkham games, so he can
Yeah.
say a lot of things, and he has said a lot of messed up and disturbing things. So I feel like you had that portrayal of the Joker as a whole,
I
whereas
think a
in
nice example of that actually is that in the animated series, for example, they normally use the Joker toxin as a cheap way to avoid death, but also showing that he can do death. In the Arkham Asylum game, I don't think he ever uses the Joker toxin at all, but he does, of course, kill people. In the scene, of course, where he takes this guard and throws him into the water of electric and all that, that's essentially a murdered man. So he does kill people, and they actually do show him doing that. So I appreciate that.
Mm. And I think to end it off, I another thing to add with this Joker, you feel that he is, and this is just with Mark Hamill's Joker as a whole, you feel like he isn't really insane. And by that I mean as in he is in full control of his actions. He
Apart from
is
the
a
finale.
yeah, apart from the finale, he is a mastermind. He is smart. He knows what he's doing. Every little step he does, everything he does, every action he commits, every murder he commits, he knows he's doing it. He's not. So whenever people call him crazy, yes, in terms of his actions, he is crazy. He is a straight up psychopath. But he's in control. He's not as full on lunatic-y. He is, and when he's serious, he's serious. So you never know, like, when he's actually in control of his actions or when he's actually full on going, like, just doing them by accident. And that's what I love about Mark Hamill's Joker just as a whole. And in this game, he shows it as well.
All right. Well, I think that's a good way to wrap it up there. Overall, though, Arkham Asylum, is it your favorite of the bunch?
Sadly, no. But personally, for me, and at the end of this, we'll do a. I think at the end of this, Lucas, like at the end of the Arkham Knight one, we'll do a quick little ranking of where we personally place
Granted, I've already said mine many times.
the four games. But yeah, the four games will say. But it is a fantastic game, but it is not my favorite. I do think later games improved on it, and I think there's a lot of things that the other games do better than Asylum. But my final score for the game, I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10.
That's pretty high.
What do you rank it, Lucas?
Batman Arkham Asylum is considered the game that has Game of the Year edition, plus also extra challenges, perhaps. So that it is considered Game of the Year edition when it came out. It's a nice plus. Me, ranking wise, I only hold it back, not because of what they did in the story at all. It's mainly because of the controls are a bit sluggish.
Mm.
And I should also mention some technical note. If you're playing the game, there is one. I know this has come up. People have always wondered, how do you save the game? Simple, go through a door, and there's a little save icon in the corner, bottom right corner. No, that's how you know how to save the game. But yeah, so if it wasn't for the sluggish gameplay controls, I'd rank it higher. I'm gonna go with out of 10. I have to think 7.5. That's the
Fair.
best I can go for it. But yeah, there is a comment. I'll just read it. Rocksteady, W. Montreal copied Rocksteady. They were working on Origins since 2009, and Rocksteady used their framework for City. Yet Origins got the flack so unfair.
Oh, so wait. So are they saying that Origins actually, which is a complaint that we'll get to down the line, but Origins would that City copied off of Origins?
Well,
Because
they used
like
some
it's
of the map. Half the map
yeah,
that was in Arkham City was used in Arkham Origins.
because obviously from what we've always heard that it's Arkham Origins that copied off of Arkham City.
Not really, because
But
Arkham City came out first. They copied that map because they had to because it was a prequel.
and yeah, if you look on YouTube, there's a bunch of like pre-alpha versions of the game that you can see YouTubers even play. I think
Noted.
if you have like a PC, you can access it somehow and actually like see some original stuff, like original boss fights and original like scenes and dialogue that was meant to happen. It's actually quite interesting.
We have talked about all
But
the characters and the designs, but there's one character we have not talked about on his design. And that is the Dark Knight himself, Batman. His suit in this is fine. I know people have said, "Well, Arkham Asylum suit, Arkham City suits are the same thing." That is not true. There are differences between the two suits. The big thing is his gauntlet thingies on this are more smooth and slick, whereas the ones in Arkham City have like a bit of a rectangular shape in them. And if you look at the bat symbol in Asylum, it's more wider, whereas Arkham's the one in City is a bit more, contained. So there are differences if you look down, and he does have a different belt in each of these games as well. But
I've
overall,
got
this suit.
I've
What do you
got
think of
nothing
this
to
one?
say. It's a good suit. That's it.
That's all he's got to say. People have also complained about we don't like Batman because he has his eyes showing through the mask. Is that really an issue for you?
No,
No,
that's how
because
it is. That's how he is for a lot of
movies.
portrayals. He has his eyes through the suit. Yeah, but also in like just a bunch of different portrayals, his eyes are normally in the suit. The white eyes. Oh, and this is me realizing in Batman the Animated Series, he doesn't actually show his eyes. There's whites. There, he does have the
Yeah, he has the
whites.
white one.
Yeah, the white eyes. The white eyes. I mean, here's the thing: the white eyes work well, obviously, when it's at night, when it's like dark, obviously. But in the day, they wouldn't look as fine. But in these games, they do the eyes through the suit. They use it. They use them well. So
Well, I think that's a way to wrap it up here. After this stream, will you go and play Ark? Are you? That's the thing I want to bring up. When it comes to Arkham City, when we do the next ranking, are you going this without playing Arkham City, or are you just going to go for this and you're going to like
I
go for
I'm
fun?
actually currently finishing Arkham Knight, and I plan to replay City and Origins actually next. So perfect timing.
Oh, great! That's a nice way to end it off.
Mm,
Now, will we do Arkham City? Do you want to include DLCs in that, like Harley Quinn's Revenge and the stuff like that?
yeah. Only
Fair
thing
enough.
I will say though is when we get to Arkham Origins, will we include obviously the famous Cold
Cold, yeah, of
Heart
course.
DLC?
But yeah. Well, and of course, if you're wondering, we are including the Season of Infamy for Arkham Knight as well.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about the Arkham episodes,
There's not really much to say, just follow-ups to the thing. I'll still talk about it, but like I said, probably the best of those is Batgirl, I'd imagine.
yeah, matter of family. But like we said, we'll get to that when we
When
get
we
to
get to
Arkham
that.
Knight.
And the people say, after, I'm pretty sure I say this, after Arkham Knight, the game's release didn't feel as good to me as those. Arkham Shadow, Arkham VR, and then you have the Justice League one.
Which, yeah, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I've not played it, but from the footage I've seen, it's not. Arkham
As for Arkham
Shadow,
Shadow and Arkham VR, would you compare them? Oh, they're equally as good as the three prior games. Oh, sorry, four prior games.
Arkham VR I've not played, but I've watched the gameplay footage of it. It's just kind of a way to show there's a little thing between Arkham City and Arkham Knight. Arkham Shadow, I'd say it's better than Arkham Knight. I do not
Okay.
care. In terms of story wise and what it does, Arkham Shadow is a worthy sequel to Arkham Origins. It does very well.
In that game, does he have his Asylum suit, or is he still wearing the Origins suit?
He he starts. It develops a bit more from what you can see looking down. The suit looks a lot more like his. It actually looks a bit more like his suit in, like his later suit in Night.
That's weird.
So maybe I like to think maybe it's like a prototype or something of the metal suit, and then of course he got the Asylum and City suit.
Okay. Overall, that's our review on Arkham Asylum. A bit of a lengthy one, but hey, it's already nearly an hour and a half. But I think overall, Arkham Asylum deserves it, given how phenomenal it is, how it's impacted not just the games, but I think it's also impacted the Batman fan base as well. Because without Arkham, after this, a lot of games a lot of superhero games are trying to be like Arkham. And Insomniac has the only game that's essentially done that well. While also it's doing it well, but it also feels like it's trying to be its own thing and not like full out copying them old way. They do try to mix up the controls of the gameplay a bit, so there is a bit more meat to the bone. When we get to the Insomniac Spider-Man games, I have not played. I don't know if Jack knows this. I have not played Spider-Man 2. However, I do know the entire story. When I say the story, I mean the main story. The side missions, I know about the Mysterio thing and that. I don't mind being spoiled, so I just we'll go for it. And I'll have my bit to say about that when we get to that. And I have played the other Insomniac ones as well. But yeah, thank you, Jack, for being here with me on this first review. Appreciate it. Originally, Jack was going to do this by himself on his channel, but he was happy to do it as a collaboration with me on my channel.
And thank you, Lucas, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Indeed. I best end it because your voice is starting to break again, so I'm going to end it for you. So, Jack, you give us a salute, and I'll end it here. Thank you everyone for attending, and I'll see you guys next time in Arkham City.